It is an honor to introduce you to Mr. Dick Morris.
Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I want to begin by paying tribute to my favorite Secretary of State, David King. I like David, but there are other Secretaries of State I don't like as much. So, the recession's over. Y'all happy? Y'all gonna go home and enjoy it? It ended 14 months ago. Must have missed it. Yeah. But you know what's really scary? This is prosperity. This is recovery. And you know what? It is. Because this is permanent America if we don't change it.
That's right.
When you have 10% unemployment and there's a recession going on, okay, the recession's going to end. When it's pouring, the storm is going to move away and it'll become sunny again. But when it's raining 10% unemployment, after the recession is over, that's when you get upset because it's not going anyplace. It's going to stay right there like it does in Europe. 10% every year. No job growth, no wage growth, sitting right there over the United States of America where it's never been since the 1930s. They could be referring to the 2010s the way we refer to the 30s. That's what Obama's policies could be leading us toward. And that's what they currently have us stuck in. You know, we've recovered from the recession. What we're now sick from is the cure. When Obama says he's going to raise spending and borrow the money, and that's going to create jobs, it reminds me of the Middle Ages, when they used to say, this poor guy is sick, let's slit open his arm and draw out blood so the evil spirits can flow out. And then when the son of a gun was half dead, they said, see, he still has evil spirits, let's take more of his blood. A second stimulus, a third stimulus. And then when he finally dropped dead, they said, see, I told you he had evil spirits. That's what the Obama economic package is like. Because when he spends that money, he's borrowing the money. And when he's borrowing it, somebody else can't. He's edging everybody else aside at the loan window and saying, lend it to me, don't lend it to anybody else. The fact of the matter is that Obama's economic policies are making recovery impossible.
That's right.
Impossible. And let me explain how. Okay, the United States economy differs from all others in the world in that our economy is impelled by consumer spending. Only about 40% of Germany's is from consumer spending. Only about a third of China's. We're the consumers who subsidize China. But in the United States, 75% of our economy is impelled by consumer spending. So consumers have to spend for this economy to get moving. How the heck are you going to spend when those tax increases are looming over your head next year? You know, when I eat the stimulus money, I feel like a pig being fattened up for slaughter next year. He's just making bacon to have for breakfast. He's going to reimpose the inheritance tax. He's going to impose probably a value-added tax on top of the income tax. He's going to repeal the threshold at which they stopped taking FICA, Social Security, out of your paycheck. So that wonderful day in August or September when you finish paying it off and you get a pay raise, that'll be gone. But spend the money. Feel free. Go ahead. For tomorrow we die. So he's holding consumer spending in check. by terrorizing us with the prospect of new taxes. And you know, I used to not care much about the inheritance tax. I would say, come on, it's 2-3% of the population with big estates. What do I care? I'm not going to bleed for them. But then I talked to an economist who explained it to me. So let's say that I'm 75, closing in on 80, and I've spent my life building Morris Industries, this huge industrial complex worth $20 million and employing 2,000 people, okay? And every year I reinvest my profits in my business. I hire new people, I bring out new products, I expand my assembly lines, I expand my factories, because I want to build as big an industry as I can. It's my legacy to the future, it's my pyramid, it's my sphinx. Generations are going to worship me, okay? But I'm 75 or 80 years old. And if I drop dead tomorrow, the feds are going to come in and ask my son to provide $9 million of cash, the inheritance tax. And he'll have like 90 days to come up with it. And he can't do that. The only way he can do it is sell the enterprise and then become somebody else's business. And I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my profits and I'm not going to reinvest them in the business. I'm going to keep them in cash. I'm going to put them under the mattress. I'm going to put them in the bank. I'm going to buy CDs with it. I might even buy stock with it. But I'm sure as heck not going to reinvest it in my company, because if I die, they'll have to sell the company. So what Obama's doing by bringing back the inheritance tax is he's assuring that those who have the money don't invest it in jobs, guaranteeing it, all for the sake of class warfare and being able to say, oh, great, we soaked the rich. A totally crazy policy. And he's raising capital gains tax from 15 to 24, 20 plus 4 points for Medicare. And, you know, I can remember sitting with Bill Clinton in the Oval Office, working on the federal budget, working on the budget cuts, figuring out where we were going to slice to balance the budget. We did that. Not like him. We did that. And he had a photographic memory. So he could remember every single budget line, and on a yellow pad he could just write it out. I might note that that photographic memory extended only to his public life. He was amnesiac in his personal life. I'll tell you a story. I got a phone call from Betsy Wright one day, his chief of staff. And Betsy's roommate came home and she said, you know, Clinton put his big finger in my face and said, I don't do what they say I'm doing. This is all a right-wing Republican charge. I'm being set up. I don't know half of these people I'm supposed to have been with. And she said, you know, Betsy, I got the impression midway in his tirade, he forgot that we'd been together. He forgot. But anyway, all of those spending cuts we put together, we're going to balance the budget by 2005. And then Gingrich said, let's cut the capital gains tax from 28 to 20. Hillary opposed it, but we got it through anyway. Bill agreed to it. He cut the capital gains tax. And then we drowned in revenue. It was coming in so fast we couldn't even count it. We had to adjust our revenue estimates upward every week or two. And we balanced that budget in 18 months. 18 months with a tax cut. The only tax that generates revenue, the only tax that you can count on to stimulate the economy is a tax cut.